Pray. Loving God, we thank you that today we come again to study your words and to learn how to help the church and other believers to grow, help us to learn, give us the wisdom, the understanding. We thank you and pray for friends who are sick or cannot make it today. Be with them too. We thank you in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay, let's go to today we're talking about heaven in chapter 11 on the theology class. So I believe that everyone heard about heaven. It doesn't matter you are Christian before or not, but you might have different meaning of heaven. So if you were Buddhist before or believe in other religion, heaven for them might mean that a place for God, for angel, and most of them is not for men. Because in most Asian belief, when you die, you not go to heaven, but you reborn to pay back your sin. And how many times, it depends on how many sin you make. So most of Asian in the old belief, they will never get to heaven forever. So who can go to heaven? Just a few who so successful finish paying off their sin, their debt. Very few. So the people who live in heaven for most Asian is a different group of people. Most of them are God already to start with. And in many Asian belief, you can get promotion to be God or angel by doing a certain thing. But most human beings will never get there. But for Christians, it's a different teaching. Heaven is a place that all men can go there after they die if they have good relationship with God. So for Christian teaching, man will end up either in heaven or hell, straight, directly. So we don't teach and don't believe about reborn to pay back sin. So if man sin, either they pay back themselves or they believe that God can help them and pay back for them. That's only two options. When Christians talk about pay back themselves, mean that people who do a lot of sin will go to hell straight, no rebirth, and end up there forever. But the man who accept the help of Jesus will not go to hell, but go to this heaven. So who are in heaven in Christian teaching? God, angel, and the man who believe in God have right relationship with God. So Old Testament use the word samayim in Hebrew just to mean that a place of sky, of air, invisible place for man. That is heaven. That's the Hebrew understanding. The Greek use the word orenos. It also means sky, air, or something, that mystery that man cannot understand or see. It's just a translation of the Hebrew words. So that because both Hebrew and Greek don't understand what heaven is. It's just somewhere in the sky. That's what they understand. So if you try to explain the word samayim, it's just something high, something in the sky. That's all that means. You see in Psalm, in many places, when they use this word to explain heaven, it's just somewhere in the sky, somewhere very high that man cannot go there. But for Christian now, you do what Jesus explained heaven, Father's house, the place that God is there, that for Christian in New Testament understand. Sometimes the New Testament Bible called paradise. So it's interchangeable between paradise and heaven. And sometimes they call new or heavenly Jerusalem, kingdom of heaven, eternal kingdom, and many other words try to explain the place that we're going to be there forever. And in some that the Bible used that the place that people will sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or Abraham's bosom. So this is the picture that people understand heaven. So you go to the Greek again in New Testament, it can understand more now. The Greek use the word heaven in the sense that it's the place that God is. Somewhere in the sky, somewhere out of this world, so that they still not really clearly understand where in heaven. Now, if you read in the Bible, Paul mentioned one time, I know a man who went to the third heaven. So now a lot of Christians understand what Paul tried to say. What is the first, what is the second, and why Paul said he went to the third heaven? Well, that is the Jewish saying, understanding. For the Jewish understanding, the first heaven is, well, is just somewhere between the world and heaven. You see that if you talk about the world, a sphere like this, and the air around the world, they call first heaven. And there are the second heaven. It's just higher in the sky, where all the angels travel. And on the third heaven, for the Hebrew, it just means a place that God lives. So that just means that way. It divides heaven in three. The first is all the bird can go, is the air. The second heaven is for angel or spirit. And the third heaven is just where God is. So that all the Hebrew understand about first, second, and third heaven. So for Christian, heaven is a real place. It's not just a dream, because the Bible clearly says that one day we all go to heaven. The one who believe in God, or Christian. And all the disciples know that because Jesus told them that one day you're going to be with me. So that's a praise. But we understand that everything is new, mean that whatever we have in this world, this life will pass away. And we got the new body, new life, new lifestyle, everything. No tear, no pain. So all these things belong to this world, this old body. Over there, new body, no pain, no tear. Perfect peace, mean that we don't need to worry about anything anymore. We have peace with God. And the Bible also say that it's the place that we can live. And the picture of Garden of Eden is there too. So a lot of people always wonder that why we need a Garden of Eden with all the fruit, since we don't need to eat anything. well, maybe even we don't need to eat, we still need garden in heaven. It's a beautiful place. So for Christian, heaven is a real place. And somebody say it's just a dream. No, it's more than a dream, because the Bible talk about we could have a new body. So the body need a place to stay, somewhere in the sky, in the universe. And the Bible talk a lot about what in heaven. Beside God, there are all kinds of angels who live in heaven to serve God and help God manage the universe that God made. So one day, man who believe in Jesus going to be there and helping God doing all the taking care of the universe too. And we talk about good new relationship we could have in heaven. So a lot of bad things that happen in this world is not going to be there, because we have a new body, new mind, new thinking. And the old thing, all the sin is gone from us. And we talk about body. Paul mentioned a lot in 1 Corinthians that we have body for this world. And in heaven, we're going to have a body for heaven too. It's a different body, different kind. But we don't know exactly how it's going to be. It's like when Jesus resurrected from the dead, that a new body. But it's not what Lazarus had after death, because Lazarus come back to the old body. But when Jesus resurrect, he come back in a new body. So that is the kind of body we're going to have in the future. We can come to this world, but we can disappear. We can eat, but we don't need to eat, like what Jesus showed his disciple. It's like the special new body that can travel to time, to space, and anywhere. So we're going to have a new earth and new heaven, and that is somewhere we're going to be with God in the future that he promised us. Now, how to get there? Well, the Bible says that only the one who born again believe in Jesus. Not everyone can get there. And not the one who think that they have religion or do a lot of good deeds will go to heaven. So that is what man teaching. But the Bible clearly says that only the one God allowed to heaven, the one who have relationship with God will get to heaven. Not everyone. So this is why Jesus tell us to tell everyone about God, about the way to get to heaven, the right way. And that is the only way through Jesus. So we come back that we try to explain where is heaven. Well, we don't know exactly. We just point the finger to the sky somewhere. But you know that the earth is round and we covered by all the air. We just floating in the sky, in the universe. And to compare our world, it's just like a small piece of dust in the sky. So the universe is so big, so large, and we don't know exactly where. Now, scientists believe that if we could travel with the high spaceship that can run very fast, it still takes us many years just to go to another star. Like from Earth, go to the moon, it takes months. From Earth to Mars, it might take years. And to a lot of stars that cross by, it takes many years already with our modern technology. So in the sky, a lot of stars is too far to measure by miles. They measure by light year. Mean that they look at how light travel from one star to another star, from the Earth to Mars or to Uranus to Neptune to somewhere. How many minutes or how many hours the light that we shine in this world will hit that star? They measure this at light year. So in some star, they say that the light will travel for many years to get there. And you know how fast the light travel in 1 second? In 1 second, the light can travel 186,000 miles, almost 200,000 miles in a second. So in an hour, it's several million already, hundreds of million miles. In a year, you calculate by. So it's unbelievable. The universe is so big, so large. In our modern human body, we cannot survive. The astronauts say that in order for us, man, in modern technology, to travel to another star, we need a couple. What that mean? Mean that wife and husband need to have children because they die before they get there. Their children have to continue, or maybe their grandchildren. So you need a whole community. Third generation may get there. The first 2 generations die on the way. We cannot live long enough to travel in the sky to the star. So that is something by our modern technology or our modern body, we cannot do it. But we can do it with the new body that God going to give us for life in heaven. Well, we try to understand heaven according to the Bible in many ways. We just say that some say heaven is the place that God lives, and Jesus is there today. And when Christians die, Christians go there too. We call the Father house, building by God, a better country, or paradise. So many names that we use in the Bible. And we say that God is in heaven right now, angel, and the one that Jesus bring to heaven, the one who believe in him, that what he promised will be with him in heaven, in paradise, like the thief on the cross, who begged Jesus before he died. Forgive me, don't forget me. And Jesus said, today you're going to be with me in heaven or paradise. So that is the praise. Do we know each other in heaven? Yes. But in different relationship. So a lot of people think that how about my wife, my husband, or my children go to heaven? We have a reunion in heaven? Yes, but different form. We know each other, but no more relationship of this world over there. We become children of God all. And we don't get married anymore. We don't have children anymore. We don't have baby anymore. And no more old people anymore. So it's a new relationship. So that is something we try to understand. How we get out of the old feeling in this world and old relationship in this world into the heaven of God and start a new relationship, new feeling. So we don't understand much how it's going to happen. We're going to be friends and children of God. No personal relationship at wife, husband, father, mother anymore. So with a new body too, not the old body. So that maybe help us to understand how to be. We can understand that in the past life, we have relationship with certain things and with an old body, but with the new body, even we can remember a lot of things, but it's not the old body anymore. So that helps a lot. You are in the new body, like a new person. So we don't understand much, but a lot of preachers try to explain the new body, new feeling in the new world, but with a lot of some old memory, but just the good part though, or the bad memory disappear. And some scholars try to understand how old we're going to be. You remember that when God made Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, they are young men or young women, fully grown, not baby and not old. And some preachers say maybe 33 years old. Why they guess that number? Well, because that is the number of Jesus when he went to heaven. So a lot of preachers say that we might be at the same age as Jesus when we were in heaven or when we get to heaven. So we don't know, it's just a guessing. And they try to tell us this is a good guess because it's the same age as Jesus when he went to heaven. So we don't know. No Bible support. It's just guessing. And we can entertain a lot about this number. What is the right age in heaven? And what you want to be at a certain age? And how we going to look like? Since we're going to have the new body, new mind, new thinking. And we're going to be look like angel. How you tell difference between one person to another person. And the Bible says God going to give us new name. So new names for millions of people. Which name you're going to get? In this world, we have 7 billion people. But you know that we use similar name. Like there are millions of David in America alone, or in California, millions of David. All have the name David. Or John, millions of John in California alone. In America, maybe 10 million John or 10 million David. But in heaven, everyone have a new name, different name, where God get all the name for everyone. And how can we know each other by all different names? Well, that's a good question, good memory. Hopefully, we don't have number 1, number 2, number 3, like all the Chinese and the men give to their children when they have too many and parents cannot remember them. So they give number to each of the kids. Number 1, number 2, number 3. I remember to call auntie, number 1 auntie, number 2 auntie, because there's so many of them. And they don't have personal names sometimes. They just have number for them. I don't know. I don't think God going to give a number. But the Bible says we all have new name. Okay, I will stop a little bit for what we talked so far about heaven. And something that we understand some, we don't understand some. We know some, we don't know a lot. But it's a good place that we want to be some way, somehow in the future. Any one of you ever go to heaven? It's not a joke. It's not a funny question because I met a few people who went to heaven already and come back. And one of them is my father. My father died and went to heaven and come back.
The other one is John Jackson's dad, right?
I don't know about his dad, but my dad, I know because he talked with me when I went to see him many years ago. That how he went to heaven and come back. Modern day, you can read many books about life after death and people who went to heaven and come back. There's so many stories now.
Yeah, John, I think sounds like heaven is a very good place. A lot of people, they said, you know, when they died, they came back. They said, I didn't want to come back, but Jesus told me to come back. But another way, you know, sometimes it's really hard to believe or not believe because some people are so skeptical. They say, "Wow, it doesn't mention in the Bible that you will die, you come back." So sometimes it's really confusing. Some people are so skeptical. And what do you think? What is the guideline? What is should we believe and not believe?
Paul himself say in 1 Corinthians and also in the book of Galatians that I know a man who went to third heaven, see all angels and God and come back. Paul just don't want to mention that he himself died, went to heaven and came back. You know that in the book of Acts, Paul was stoned one time and the people come to his funeral, but he get up. So he himself went to heaven and come back. And Jesus told the story of Lazarus and the rich man in heaven and in hell. But at that time, it's still the same place. It's divided by a big hell, a big chasm that they cannot cross over. But now we know that everyone who believes in Jesus don't stay in that place anymore, but to different place in heaven or paradise already.
Ajahn, a question on the they said this place was people that died before Jesus went there too, into the, that's why Jesus went over there and preached to them and bring all the believer with him.
We believe that before Jesus' time, everyone who died before Jesus stay in the same place, but divide in two sections. Happy place and suffering place already, but it's not a real heaven, not a real hell yet. We call a waiting place. Today, the Catholics who believe in that place. The Catholic Church teach that everyone who died go there. And the one who pay enough money to the church or to the Pope have the key. You remember that Jesus told Peter that give him 2 keys. And the Pope always claimed that before Peter died, Peter give to the first Pope, the second Pope. And all the Pope give that secret key to the next Pope. So that's the way the church make money. If you want to help your ancestor, the Pope can sneak into the hell and unlock the back door for your grandfather or grandmother and sneak him out to heaven if you pay enough money to the Pope. So the church make a lot of money through that teaching. Even today, you see sometimes the Pope will show the 2 keys on his belt. So why we go to that 2 keys of heaven and hell? So the Catholic Church will teach about that waiting place, that everyone who dies stay there. It's like what you call the second country, like all the refugee. When you leave your country, you go to the second country, and you're waiting for the third country to accept you. So in the old day, we call this place the waiting place, or the
Ajahn ภาษาไทยเรียกว่าอะไรศูนย์พักวิญญาณใช่ไหม
ที่พักวิญญาณ
ที่พักวิญญาณ
It's just a letting place, waiting place. It's not a permanent yet. So the Bible says that everyone who died before Jesus went there, but separate by the one who know God or keep all the law of God. And another side is the one who don't keep the law of God. So this is not a permanent place. And the Bible says when Jesus died, he went there to preach. And anyone who waiting for him, believe in him, come out with him, went to paradise now. So that place is no one who believe in Jesus stay. Now, if we believe in Jesus, we don't go there anymore. We go straight to heaven or paradise. But Jesus tell the story of Lazarus and the rich man. They still go here because they went there before Jesus' time.
How about
And I have
Hades?
oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
How about a place called Hades?
For the Jewish people, in Old Testament, they call that place. You see, even in New Testament time, use the word Hades or the pit or a lot of things. For the Hebrew or understanding, it also means this place. Some deep hell, place that all the spirit went there.
A question again. When we
Yes.
mention about heaven, when I look at my own version, we translate the sky. But when I look at the English version, they have a plural in heavens. So is that the same thing that you explained earlier, like in the heavens of the galaxy, in the heavens of the bird? Is that including in the Genesis 1:1?
Yes, for the old Hebrew, they understand that heaven, there are three heavens. They mentioned that heaven for the bird, for the spirit, angel, and for God.
And when Jesus said, "My kingdom is not here," or and he also said, "The kingdom of God is within you." So what does that really mean by those two passage?
You see, sometimes the Bible uses the word kingdom of God, mean that anywhere that God rule, anywhere that God is king, we call kingdom of God. So it can be a place, it can be a heart, it can be a person. Wherever God rule, wherever God is king, that we call kingdom of God. So a lot of time we call kingdom of heaven, it just mean a place that God live or the one who believe in God stay. So in some sense, they are different.
It's
Two
not a
different
place.
things.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you repeat again? That did you say that so heaven there's three stages, and for human being is the third heaven?
No, we human in this world, we're not in heaven, but the air above us allow the world. They call the first heaven in Hebrew understanding. It's the place of all the bird, the air. And the second heaven is for the spirit. Angel or the spirit is above, far away out of in the sky. And the third heaven for the Hebrew, it just means the place that God stays.
And for us, it will be third heaven.
If you believe in Jesus, you're born again, you go to be with God in third heaven.
Okay, thank you.
So the understanding about heaven in the Old Testament may be different from the New Testament. And not because they misunderstood, but as we say that in the past, in the Old Testament time, anyone will not go to heaven directly until the time of Jesus.
So, Ajahn, you just mentioned about the before Jesus' time. So we just go to the two places that.
It's the one place, but divided by a big, you might call that a deep pitch in the old Hebrew. Divide that one place.
After Jesus, and then when we die, we just only have two places. Have directly heaven and
that place. The one who don't believe in Jesus will go back to that place, waiting for the last judgment.
Oh, okay, okay. We still have that.
Yeah, we still have that.
Judgment.
Yeah, waiting for the last
Who
judgment.
not believe yet.
Yeah.
So they will be there.
Yes,
Jesus will come again.
yes,
Okay, now I clearly understand. Thank you, Ajahn.
yeah.
Ajahn, the final judgment is only for the non-believer, right? Or for
Well, the
all?
worst judgment is for the non-believer, but we who believe in God, we went through another, we don't call judgment, but it's the rewarding that we get from Jesus in the end time too, because we not all will get the same price. We have salvation, that the gift, but the price, the rewards, it depends on what you do for God in this world. So that's a different thing. We don't use the judgment for Christian.
Ajahn, so knowing that Paul has a lot of reward, and maybe some of us, maybe not, but will we have will we share the same heaven, the one that has a good reward and the one that don't?
Well, I have some members who say, I don't care, as long as I go to heaven, it's good enough.
I think, as human being, maybe we change our mind, maybe, but otherwise, man, he has a lot, I don't.
Paul used this verse. Some will save into glory. Some will save like saved from the fire. So what that mean when Paul said that? It means that some will barely save. It means that some will be 50.00 to heaven. And some might be 99.99% or 100% go to heaven. Mean that you go there with glory, with happiness, with joy, but another one is 50.00. You have to sneak into heaven.
I think I get into heaven as a D, Ajahn. Great D.
D minus.
Also F.
Ajahn, I want to see the B minus to clear, to get understand. So how we can just barely save. So I still confused about that.
Barely saved mean that we saved by grace alone. Mean that barely, mean that you never done anything for God at all. You saved the last minute before you die and never done anything good for God.
So that way we there and then dividing the position like human living in the world here. So we have high position and low position, like homeless people. And
I try to understand what Paul said too, because life after this world is still a long way to go. It means that
still a long way to go.
God did not just make this world. God made the universe. It's so big. And in the future, there's still so many things happening, and we got to help God like angel, taking care of the universe.
Thank you.
So a lot of things that we do in this world will decide our future.
Ajahn, like there's a different class in heaven also, right? They have like a middle class, high class, and low class.
Well, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Because even the angel, they have the ranks, they have position, they have different job too. But as I say, some of my members say they don't care as long as they go to heaven.
That's right, John. That's all we hoping for. Yeah. We don't want to be the one to flunk.
Well, my question is, if you can do better than this, why don't you do it?
Ajahn, how about when we in heaven, knowing that you said we will be serving God and He will give us duties and position, do you think we'll have some lazy people that will do it, or will some will not, or will be just like robots?
A lot of things is beyond imagination. You know that this body in this world, because of sin, we downgrade, and we did our full potentiality. So in the new body, new mind, new thinking, without sin, I think we can go to our full potentiality. So I believe that we're going to be very different from today. In this world, we see a lot of different kind of people because of sin. And because of what we call deceit, we don't have the same ability, same wisdom to do a lot of things because of sin. So without sin, I think it's a different story.
Ajahn, the way I understand a little bit, I'm not sure that I understand it right or not. Because the scripture teaches that the Father, God's fear. I mean, is faithful. So He's faithful and to reward us. So I kind of think that, depend on the ability I have. Some people may have more ability, more gifted, and some people may not. And I think if we use every thing that we able to, and I think that God will reward us according to how much we can.
Yeah, that's a good point. You see, because God did not compare us to a different person. God judged us, evaluate us according to what He given us. So it means that God did not compare you to another person. God evaluate you from what He giving you, that how you use it. You use it your full potentiality. You do your best or not. It's about you. It's not about other people. So I think you're right. Kamsai, you get the point. It's you who judge yourself. It's not God. And in the end day, you yourself will tell God what you have done.
Ajahn, you're saying that God will judge every single of us on His term, on His according His rule.
Yeah, but you see, it's not the same standard because we are different and God is fair. For example, God not going to compare you with Billy Graham or Paul because that's not fair. God will compare Nathan with Nathan. The full potentiality Nathan that God make and what Nathan live his life or do with his life. And we ourselves will tell God that it's fair because I know myself very well and I know what I did my whole life. So this is why the Bible always say that do your best, not other people's best. So you think that it's fair? Just your best. The best of your ability.
I think that's fair, Ajahn.
Yeah. No company will judge you that way, though. Every company have a standard. Your best is not good enough to that standard, so they kick you out. Okay, you have any more questions on what we learned so far? Okay, anything else?
Bunta doesn't He asked us to pray for his wife to go to emergency last night.
Oh, okay. It's the same old problem.
Yeah, same old problem. Yeah.
But in fact, I don't know what her problem is.
The problem is they had a lung, problem, probably due to like early childhood smoking too much.
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah. So now she have to be on oxygen all day, all day.
Okay. How old is Buntawai?
Probably 60 something, yeah. Maybe 62.
Okay. Let's see who's still missing today.
Pun, he said he have to do song practice with the group today, so he tell Ajahn I won't make it.
Okay. There's still some missing today. Let's see.
I think Ben and Mali.
Oh yeah, they are in Greek.
Oh,
How about Ethan? I mean, what's that? Evan.
Oh, Evan.
Evan, yeah.
Oh, he take this semester off. He say too busy.
Okay, are you still in San Diego? Are you still in San Diego or you're at home?
Yes, in San Diego.
How was the drive?
Yeah, it's okay. So it take me about 8.5, almost 9 hours.
That's not bad.
It's about 47 minutes delay.
That is fast. It
Yeah.
take me 10 hours to get there.
I don't know, but I follow the people driving. Yeah, so I can see that sometimes at 90 miles per hour.
I believe so. If you make in 8.5 hours, you have to be 90.
Exactly, John. Yes.
I drive around 65, 70. It take me 10 hours. I heard no will come to San Diego soon too.
Right, Ajahn.
Oh, good. Yeah, let Yong say you won't have time to come to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
After you come to San Diego, you can come to the Bay Area. Well, Richmond, San Francisco.
How long is this class, Ajahn?
It's 2 more weeks.
Oh, only 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
But you gave us 4 chapters. 5 chapters.
Yeah, you know that today we need to finish 2. Next week 2. We try. If not, you have to read it yourself.
Ajahn, did you maybe send us the all your lecture notes?
Yeah, you don't get them?
I don't think I get the last one. Whatever.
About last week, I sent chapter 11 to 14.
Yeah, we got
Let me
15,
see.
chapter 11 to 15, John, we got it.
Oh,
Okay, let me.
So check your email. If you have too many email, you have to check everyone. I don't know which one I have.
Bring my grandson with me today. He's so
Okay,
naughty.
if Songsai, if you don't get it, you can email me so I can use that email to resend you.
Yeah, I usually get everything from you, Ajahn.
Yeah, I don't know.
This time I don't get it.
Okay,
Yeah.
email me. I will send it back to that new email.
Oh wait, hold on. Oh, conflict management, right, Ajahn?
Both, I sent 2 times.
Okay, I think I got this one. Yeah, hold on. Yes. I found it.
Yeah, one is for conflict management, another one for theology.
At the same you send at the same time, or it's just
2 different time.
or 2 different time? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had that one. The conflict is like 10 to 14.
yeah, Ajahn sent conflict management first. He sent to us that one, and later on.
Okay.
One, yeah.
On first must be okay. I found it right here. Another one. Intimate theology. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, good.
I got it.
Okay, let me go back to finish this chapter. Okay. It's the same thing that what we're going to do. We already say that we're going to help God take care of the universe. There's so many things that God created in the universe. And God make us to be his children, to help him. And a few things that the Bible mentioned what we will do in the future: worship without distraction, serve without extortion, fellowship without fear, learn without fatigue, rest without boredom. So that's the 5 things that we could have in heaven that different from this world. We worship God all the time in heaven, in the new life. And no distraction. Don't need to run out to have lunch or to work or to have meeting. We have all the time to worship God at that time. We could serve without exhaustion, mean that never get tired, never get bored. We love serving God and fellowship with all believers and everyone in heaven without fear of government or people who try to scare us, and learn new things all the time and rest. So this is the good thing that we do in this world, but in a different form. We got to do it in the new way with joy and happiness. That's the good part in heaven. Now, how you be sure to go to heaven? The Bible says the only way to heaven is through Jesus, not by keeping the law, not by being a Christian, but through relationship with Jesus. Born again. Jesus told Nicodemus in John chapter 3, without born again in the spirit, in water, you will never get to heaven. So born again, new life with Jesus in the spirit, that the way to go to heaven. Well, in the past, we talk about 2 places that we go after we die. But now all believers born again go straight to heaven with Jesus. That's what Jesus promised us. Up here in something, Paul explained new life in heaven. And Paul can tell it's not just by his wisdom, but he himself went to heaven already. Paul said that he saw what in heaven and what lifestyle is. And people say that, wow, how can he know all detail? You know that in heaven, there's no time. You can say that it's not just like just a few hours, but in fact, it can be years and years. No time in heaven, no clock. He died for a short time and he come back. But in that short time in heaven, he already see everything. They say all the people see what life is, what body is, and everything clearly. And this is what he explained to us, what he saw in heaven and what we will do in heaven. And this is the first step. You can check what he's saying a lot in many places that beside Paul, Peter also tells us about heaven. And even though we don't know that Peter ever went to heaven or not, but maybe in his vision. And John too, John went to heaven in his vision. He told us a lot later on about heaven. Revelation is John. He saw all the vision about heaven. But in Matthew, it's just what Jesus told us about heaven. 1 Corinthians is about what Paul saw in heaven and told us. And Peter, we know that he saw all the vision about heaven too. So this is something that people who see it or when they're in person. And Paul himself, he said, I'm not sure that I went with my body or not, because that he died. He know that his spirit went there, but his body might not there yet. So this is something. And in the end of the chapter, I mentioned something about different religions, how they believe, how they know or think about heaven, and how to get there. Christianity believes that heaven is a gift from God for anyone who believes in Jesus. It's not something other religions say that you need to earn it. In order to go to heaven, you need to earn it by doing good things and pay back all the debt of sin first. So for Christian, that is impossible. We never pay off. So it's a gift from God. And some other Christian Orthodox also believe differently from us. Jehovah's Witness believe that nobody go to heaven anymore because heaven have quota of 144,000 seats or apartment. It's all filled up long time ago. Thousands of years ago, it's already filled up. So Jehovah's Witness teach that all new believers will stay in this world forever, never have a chance to go to heaven. So this is what they believe. Judaism, well, they believe that only when men come back to God and then they go to live in this world too. Very few can go to heaven. How about Mormon? Mormon is not Christian too. Mormon have similar belief about life after death and heaven, similar to Hinduism. You might be surprised when you compare Mormonism and Hinduism. It's almost twin. Even they look differently. Mormon look white, Caucasian, Christian, and Hinduism look Indian in the East, but in fact they are twin. Their teaching is similar, and their God is the same God. They just dress differently, but Hinduism and Mormonism are twin. Roman Catholic, you see that Roman Catholic from the beginning, they don't call themselves Christian. They call the religious of the Roman. And they pretend to be Christian for 2,000 years. They borrow a lot from Christianity, but in fact, the all Roman religion hijack Christianity and use it as a shame to lure a lot of people into their church, but they are not real Christian. The real Roman Catholic is not a real Christian. They are the old Roman teaching, the old Roman God. They just change the name to look like Christian, but they are not. Or because all their teaching is not Christianity at all. And most other religions, Baha'i, atheists, they all not believe in the same God that we have. It might similar in some way, but their teaching is not Christian. And Buddhism, as I mentioned before, Buddhism, in fact, is a branch of Hinduism. Buddha himself used to be the Hindu priest and seeking new way. So he say he found out of shortcut to heaven, not through the Hinduism, because in Hinduism there is no way. So he believed that with his shortcut, he can help people to get out of all the Nirvana. Go to Nirvana means that stop all life and reincarnation. The Hindu mentioned a lot about that, but Buddhism tried to stop everything. To distinguish means that stop everything, no more life, because Buddha himself said life is suffering. Or the Chinese old religion, Chinese religion is even before Buddhism into China. They already have a lot of things like Taoist and all the old Chinese belief. Confucian is one of the old Chinese belief before Buddhism. Hinduism, very old. Islam, for all the Arab that borrow Christian teaching to mix with old Arab culture. And all the Jainism, it comes from part of Hinduism too. Scientology is another group that try to say that they are Christian, but they are not true. And even Japanese, Shinto is the old religion of the Japanese before Buddhists get in there. They also teach about you never get to heaven. All life in this world is suffering too. Sikhism is part of Hinduism too in India. And here I mentioned a little bit about what they believe about sin, about evil, about hell and heaven. Taoism is the old Chinese belief too. That's similar to Buddhism in some way. And for Taoism is more the primitive belief of humankind, like all the Native American Indian who believe that all life have to align with the supernatural in order to be happy. So for them, it's not about heaven. So this is all Wicca is the witch religions that now popular in Europe and in America again. And Unitarian Universalism, they always try to call themselves Christian, but they are not. They believe that every religion is the same thing. Every human being will end up in the same thing. Mean that if we make it okay with the universe, everything going to be okay. But they don't talk about heaven or hell at all. And if you look at the 21 other religions besides Christianity that teaching about heaven or hell, you might be surprised that most of them believe similar things. By the logic of man that you do good, you might be happy. You do bad, you go to hell. But for them, in order to get to heaven or hell, it means that you pay off your sin first. And if you're good enough, you might end up in heaven one day. But in reality, we know that we will never pay off our sin because we make a new sin every day, all the time, and never pay off. So by all this teaching, it means that we're hopeless. No way to get out of the cycle of sin, rebirth, only through Jesus Christ, that the only way that promises he paid the price for us. He paid the ransom to help us get out of this cycle of evil, of sin. So we can have a chance to go to heaven and get out of all this confusion. Okay, I did not go in detail, but I hope that you go and read some of them to get a general idea about the rest of the world, what they believe about heaven and hell, about sin, and how to get out of those sins. Okay, it might be a lot, but this is a big topic. And we're going to take a short break and come back for another chapter about hell. It can be fast because it's similar or related in the topic of heaven. Do you have any last question before we're done for this chapter and take a break, a short one?
So Buddhism believed in เวียนว่ายตายเกิด, right?
Yeah, Buddhism believe main thing in reincarnation, mean that You never pay off. You come back, for example, this life you kill how many chicken, how many dog to kick. You have to rebirth into that dog to got kicked by that dog to pay back. You kill how many chicken? You have to reborn in that many times to be killed by those chicken to pay back. So this is forever.
And also they said ตนเป็นที่พึ่งของตนใช่ไหม
Yes, the main thing of Buddhism also say that nobody save you, you save yourself. Nobody can help you, help yourself.
That's why I see a lot of they like give, you know, whatever you give a lot, this word, next word you become, you know, rich, whatever. Born to be rich or born to be a good life.
Well, but you know, in those teaching, good thing and bad thing are two different departments. In order to get your good thing back, you have to start with paying off your debt first. But you know that all human beings, we do bad thing more than good thing. So good thing cannot save us. Bad thing catch up with us first. Okay, we're going to take a short break and come back for another chapter about hell. Let's see. Chapter 12 is about hell. It's continued from heaven, opposite from heaven in hell for Christian. The one who believes in Jesus will go to heaven no matter what. But the one who don't believe in Jesus will end up in hell. Is that a short answer? It's not because they do good or do bad, but because they believe in Jesus or not. That is the cut. So it's different from all the rest of the world. The rest of the world will say the one who do good go to heaven, the one who do bad go to hell. But for Christian, the one who believe and accept Jesus go to heaven, not because of their good, but because it's a gift from God to them. And the one who don't believe in Jesus, they all go to hell because nobody can do good enough to earn their salvation. Nobody can save themselves by doing good things. So everyone falls short of the standard of God, and everyone will end up in hell unless they get saved by Jesus or by the gift from God. So you see that for Christianity, heaven is the gift from God. We don't earn it. We all deserve hell. Without that gift, all will end up in hell. So what is hell? Well, in short, it's the place that God punished people. In fact, God did not make hell for human being. God made hell for heaven, or for angel. You remember that God made only two kinds of spirit, angel and humankind. The two groups of creation that have spirit, that part get from God. All animal don't have spirit. Animal just have body and feeling, thinking. But when an animal die, it's all gone. And animal don't have spirit. So animal don't have to go to heaven or hell because that's not God's intention. So only angel and human being have spirit that have freedom to choose and responsibility when we make mistake. But the two difference between man and angel is man have second chance because God make man to be his children. So God come to die for man, to pay the price for man. But angel don't have second chance because God make angel to be servant. And when angel fail, it's done. They don't have second chance to come back. This is why the falling angel become devil, Satan. And they know that their future is in hell. So they do everything to lure man, to trick man, to be in hell with them, to serve them, to be their slave forever. So this is why God, through Jesus Christ, come to save man from devil, from Satan, and from hell. And depends on humankind that we want salvation from God or not, or help from God. So as you asked me before, in the Old Testament, the word hell come from Hebrew word chill. This is the old popular Hebrew words in the Old Testament, used a lot, chill. And it just means a dark place, a place for dead people. It's for the grave or anything. The King James Bible used a lot of this word, 31 times, or the pit, 3 times. And Hades, that Hades is a New Testament word for hell too. And it's just a translation of the Hebrew chill. It's the grave, is interchangeable, Hades or chill. It's just the blotting place that man will go after the death. But in New Testament, they also use a different words. Gehenna is the place in outside Jerusalem that they put trash, they burn trash, and the poor people will dump the dead body there. In fact, it's like a valley outside Jerusalem. And they burn the trash and the body all day, all night. It keeps burning. So it's the picture of hell for people in Israel. So they call hellfire or call it hell, but this place they call Gehenna. So this is hell for the people in New Testament time or Old Testament time too. It's just the real place that outside Jerusalem. So it doesn't matter what words they use, just to Abaddon is another Hebrew word. It just means destruction, and they use for the word hell too, Abaddon. Tartarus, this is another word in 2 Peter used to explain this is the place they call hell too. Lake of fire is another popular word that used in Revelation, mean hell. So you can sum them up: Chill, Hades, Gehenna, Lake of Fire, Abraham bosom, paradise with the Lord, new heaven and new earth. This is the words that used for the dead people. Some is mean hell, some mean heaven, that all the dead will go, either place. And you look at the Jewish background, why they use this word. Chills is the place that all dead people will go. It's a place of darkness, silence, forgetfulness. And this is the book of Enoch. This is, we don't put in our New Old Testament, but the Jews use this book in their teaching too. And they also this place in those books that the Jews believe. And when they translate the Hebrew Bible from Hebrew into Septuagint, Septuagint is the Greek version of Old Testament. They translate chill into Hades. That's all. The Greek used the word Hades. It's the same place. So this is some chart will tell us that different English Bible use different words for hell. This is Hades in Greek. In the King James Bible will call it hell. New King James call Hades. It's just the same Greek Hades. And New American Standard Version called Hades too. New International Version called Hades. Easy English Standard Version use the same words. That kingdom. This is Catholic version. New, and some will call those grave. So this is the different version of the Bible that use different words, but it means the same thing from Greek, Hades. Gehenna and different words used to mean hell is the same thing. And this is Toronto. Toronto is also translated into hell in every English version. So it's just the different way, different words they use to explain the place that bad people go, or the people that don't keep the law of God go in the Old Testament meaning. But in the New Testament meaning is anyone who don't accept hell gift from Jesus of salvation will go to hell. Now, Protestant understanding of hell. It just starts with John Calvin. It's the place that all the dead will go. And they use the word sleep a lot. Like Martin Luther also said that people will sleep there forever. But for most Protestants, we know that hell is the place that the one who don't believe in Jesus will go. But a lot of people say that for Christian, it's not just a place that the spirit go, because the Bible mentioned about torment, fire, and worm that never die, fire that never quench. If the spirit go there, how the spirit suffer? So the Christian New Testament Protestant believe that the body is there too. So the body can suffer. So now the question is, how could the body tolerate all those fire, all those worm, all those torment? It won't expire. The Christian Protestant have the teaching that, well, the body suffer to the point that they cannot take it anymore, they die, but they come back and suffer again until they die because it suffer too much. They think they get out of it. No, they revise in the same place and go all over again and again and again. It's like the repeat movie that never done. That is hell. In modern Christian theology, believe that way. It's the torment place that never stop. And even they die, they come back the same place to go all over again and again forever. Oh, this is hell for modern Christian thinking. So in Christian understanding, hell is a place. It's not just the thinking. All Christian scholar and New Testament mention clearly that it's the place of pain, suffering, torment. All the one who don't accept Jesus' gift of salvation will go there after that. After they expire from this world. There's so many support from Romans 3. Everyone who sinned will stand condemned. John 3:16, without the gift of God, anyone will go there. But anyone who accepts the gift of love from God will be saved. So the New Testament will go on. And some describe the hell for Christian is darkness. And because God is light, darkness is opposite from God. Hell is dark, but people say, how about the fire? Burning fire is have light. Yes, it's a very interesting place. They have darkness and fire in the same time. So it just tries to explain the suffering between super hot and super cold in the same time. because they use the word darkness represent the cold, and fire represent the heat. So it might take turn between hot and cold, darkness and light, heat and fire, all the time, never stop. The Bible uses the words of a lot of darkness, but it also fire in the same time. The gnashing of teeth, it just means suffering. People suffer so much all the time in that place without hope. Fire that we mentioned also that it's burning without stopping. And that's the picture of hell. Separation from God, this is the worst thing, because God is the source of love and light. Without God, it's only death and hopeless. So people who go to hell, is the worst thing is they were separate from God forever, no hope to reunite it with God, and that is hell. So this is the big part of Christianity, that we try to bring people back to God, because God loves us and he wants to save us. But a lot of time we cannot save ourselves. We cannot get away from what Satan and devil try to trick us away from God. And now, is hell temporarily or eternal, mean that forever? You know, some people try to teach that hell is just temporarily, mean that God used hell to scare man away and to punish man for a short time. But the Bible did not say that way. The Bible says hell is forever. When anyone ends up there, it's no chance to get out, and that's scary. We always hope that we go to jail one day, we get out of jail, or even when you die, you still get out by spirit. But hell is forever. That is something that we need to worry about, because no chance to get out of hell. Even die physically, spirit still end up in hell forever. And the Bible supports this teaching. And sin is serious. It's not a joke. Sin is something that God wants us to get out of it. And it cannot disappear by itself. You see that when Jesus comes, it's not just to forgive us, but Jesus paid the price of sin himself. Nothing free. Somebody needs to pay for it. And that is a serious thing. The Bible talks a lot about the lake of fire. It's burning forever. And that's a symbol of punishment that will last forever. And as I mentioned, that God did not make hell for man, but for Satan and his followers. But why man end up in hell? Because we decide to take side with Satan, to follow Satan. That's why man will end up in hell with Satan. And Satan will lure a lot of men to go to hell with them, to be his slave forever. But man always have a choice to accept hell from God and give from Jesus. But if we reject Jesus, it means that man will end up in hell forever. So why don't we think that man will accept hell? Why man decide to be slave of Satan in hell forever? Well, a lot of people don't know the truth. And a lot of people were deceived for so long until they don't know the truth. They cannot get out of that trap. And now some teach that, well, hell is not permanent. That means that you will have a second chance if in hell you decide to get out of it. But the Bible did not support that teaching. The Bible says that hell is final, meaning that anyone who ends up in hell, no second chance. It's done over there. You see, some church that call themselves Christians say, oh yes, the bad guy will end up in hell, but when they decide to accept the gift from Jesus, they will get out of hell. But the Bible did not teach that. After anyone end up in hell, no second chance. The Bible clearly said that. So this teaching, even then call themselves Christianity, they are not, because it's not based on the Bible. And this is another teaching. They say that it's Buddhist also based on this teaching. It means that, well, we all end up someday in hell. We will, after we destroy, we done, not exist anymore. But the Bible did not say that, because man have spirit and spirit come from God, and that lasts forever. Nobody can destroy the spirit. So this teaching is against Christianity. Man's spirit will never extinct. It lasts forever. And this is some other wrong teaching. Some church try to say that God is love, so God cannot send anyone to hell forever. Well, God is love, that's right. But sin is sin. It's against God. And sin have to pay the price. And hell is forever. So this is like the coin have two sides, head and tail. God is love and God is just. It's the same God. So it can coexist. And heaven is one side, hell is another side, and that's reality too. And some say that, oh, hell is too strong punishment. God cannot do that to man, because God make man to be his children. And God have to save man. Yes, it's right in some way. God tried to save man. But after it's done, after man refused, and after time over, punishment will come. And now I give you some biblical verses that support what hell is. Like in Matthew 5, don't do the bad thing, you end up in hell. Or anything that causes us to go to hell, we need to get rid of them. This is the general teaching though, try to help us get away from the bad thing. And this is the teaching that try to help us, but we know that it's all good teaching, but we still end up do bad thing. So the Bible tried to lead us to the point that finally we still need help from God. The offer of salvation through Jesus Christ, the gift from God, the grace from God. If we accept it, we saved by the grace of God alone. Without that gift, even we try our best, we end up short of what God expects from us. But why the Bible teaches a lot try to do our part? Well, it's like an option. If you want to try to do it yourself, this is the way. But in the end, they say that even you try your best, you still cannot get it yourself. God gave us freedom to try. But if you know that you cannot do it, accept the gift, the help from God. And then we end up get help and salvation. So the Bible verses give us how God teaches us and show us the way and the option. Because God made us with free will, we have freedom to choose to be saved by the help of God or try to save ourselves. And we can try both and see why we still can choose. But don't wait too long, because the Bible says that when time is up, it's up. When we end up in hell, no more second chance. But while we still alive, we still have a second chance. We are better than angel. Angel don't have second chance. When they fail, they fail. But when man fail, we have a second chance, but we need to use it. And here, and from at the end of the chapter, I also told you how other religions believe about hell, like Islam. Islam, as I say, that come from the collection of teaching of Christianity, Jewish, plus Arab culture. So Islam is not something brand new. It's just a collection of Jewish teaching, Christianity teaching, add on the Arab culture, make Islam. So they have a lot of foundation from Old Testament, some from New Testament, and a lot is from their own Arab culture, tradition, add on to make Islam. So they have some correct teaching from the Bible and a lot of from their own Islam, from own Arab old teaching. So their hell and heaven a little bit different from us. How about the Chinese thinking? Well, the Chinese also thinking that hell is there, but if you do a lot of good thing and sacrifice, you still have a chance. So this is the old Chinese teaching. If you do good enough, sacrifice enough, you might have a chance to get out of hell. So, but this is very rare. But now a lot of Chinese will add on Buddhist teaching too, about pay back your sin for how many times. If you can pay back all your debt, you have a chance. But in reality, you know that we are bankrupt because we make more debt than we pay off debt. This is reality. Hinduism is another hopeless religion. It means that no man will be saved. Everyone will end up in hell because we all do bad things and try to pay back our bad thing in hell forever. All men will end up in hell. And Buddhism too. No hope for man. Baha'i is a new faith that try to combine the good thing of Christian teaching with all the rest of the world good teaching that, well, God will help man and God will save man again from hell. So this is another wrong teaching of modern day people who try to think that there's still hope. Man will not end up in hell forever. So this is a brand new teaching in modern day. People think that God is love and God not going to dump man in hell forever. So this is a good thinking, but it's not right. Hell is real. And anyone who end up in hell will live there forever. So the Bible is clear on hell. Don't let anyone deceive us that hell is just a jail for a short time. This is the wrong teaching. Hell is forever. And when anyone gets to hell, it's no second chance. Man have a second chance while we still alive. So this is what the Bible teaches. So this is the short version of hell. It's opposite from heaven, but it can go hand in hand that either man end up in heaven or in hell. There's no other place, only two choices. If you end up in heaven, you skip hell. If you end up in hell, you have no chance to heaven. Nobody can go into places or skip one to another one by themselves. Only God can help us. Okay, now I open up for your question or reflection from both topic, heaven and hell. There is some reading that you need to go back and read them, digest them. if you have more questions next time, when we come back, we can go back over them too.
Can I have a little question? Actually, little off topic, but you mentioned about the book of Enoch.
Yes.
And maybe, I mean, that book, some people say that, you know, should be in the Bible, and some people say that it's canonical, but it talk about, I haven't read the book myself, but people say that, you know, that talk about alien, talk about giant, and talk about UFO, all those things, and we Christian Bible, we don't have that in there, but people still see those things. And what do you
Yes.
think about that? The book of Enoch.
The Jew have many more books in the Bible than what we have, and that's true. Why we don't put those in the Bible? Well, Christians decide that we want just what God wants us to know, and a lot of things that we don't accept at Bible doesn't mean that it's not true. Like the book of Enoch or many things, it might be true, but it's just not the Bible. And the very super conservative Christians say anything not in the Bible they don't believe. But I say that might go too far. A lot of things that is not in the Bible, it might be the fact, but God just don't want us to know or to deal with now. That's all.
Okay.
So I always want that you can read those books, but be careful. It doesn't mean that they all lie. Some of them are fact, but it's just God don't want us to deal with it now. It might be fact a lot of those books have a lot of fact too.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I don't want to confuse with other teaching.
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you.
You're welcome. A lot of things we don't know, but it doesn't mean that they not exist. So the purpose of learning about heaven and hell is to warn us about the urgency of life. It means that a lot of our loved ones have a chance in this world. If they don't make the decision now, it might be too late. We cannot change anything after the death, but we still can change a lot of things while they're still alive. And a lot of people postpone the decision because they think that they still have a lot of time. But in fact, they're not a lot of time.
Again, for a person that he is alive, but he's a mental, so and he not sure if he can accept Christ or not, or maybe he's not even understand anything at all. So what those people gonna be like? How?
We don't know exactly how God going to deal with a lot of special people who not like normal people. But you know that I found out that a lot of people who have problems, they don't have problem all the time. They have problems sometimes. So we believe that in some time they can accept God or Jesus in their right mind too. And God is very just and fair. I believe that God will have given them a chance. And it's just like little kid. We think that little kid don't know anything and cannot make decision. But I found out a lot of kids know what they're doing. And the accepting of Jesus is real. So I think the best thing we can do for those special people is praying for them and pray that God will have mercy on them, open their heart, their mind to make the right decision. And God can speak to people's heart, everyone. And God can save everyone too. John Newton, the one who wrote the song Amazing Grace, he used to be the slave trader. He wrote the song Amazing Grace, and it tells us a lot. Before he died, he said a very big vision about the future. He said that in his vision in heaven, he met a lot of people that he never think they will make to heaven. And also in his vision about heaven is a lot of people he expect to see in heaven are not there. So what that mean to us? What we think is not what reality is. And what we look at and see is not the real thing. A lot of people that we think they are so good, but they are not. But a lot of people we think they are so bad, they are not that bad. And a lot we think that going to be saved, they are not. And a lot we think that they will never be saved, they are saved.
Why so many young people are so into what you call hell image, and because you mentioned that hell is darkness, and does that mean that heaven is like a cloud and white and with the wing? Is that what it looks like?
Well, in Christian Bible, it look like heaven have light all the time, never get dark. Because God is there, God is the light. So in the Christian thinking, there is no night in heaven. So I don't know, you like that way, never get dark in heaven. It's light all the time. It's like you go to Alaska, 6 months, the sun never come down. Another 6 months, the sun never show up in Alaska, some part of Alaska. But heaven is forever light, because God is light. And we never have to go to bed in heaven. They say Las Vegas is the city that never go to sleep. They try to imitate heaven.
Even the animal, we won't see them anymore.
Well, you know that there are many kind of angel in heaven have the animal shape. You see that when Isaiah or Jeremiah or John saw angel in heaven, they said they are bird, they are eagle, they are lion. So many kind of angel, it just look like animal. And a lot of people who love dogs say that all dog is in heaven too. But I never see anywhere in the Bible mentioned about dog.
Oh, Ajahn, I still don't understand that much about you. Just about mention the person who wrote the Amazing Grace. That guy said, the person who he expect to see that, but he don't see, but the person that he not expect, but still there. And that, so what's that mean? Same thing like a Thai people, Lao people, the people who doing bad thing a lot, and then they think they're building the temple to pay for the sin, and then they can go to the heaven. That's why we're expecting to see those people over there, but we don't see. Or what is the reason?
Now, what John Newton mean is we look at outside. We think that a lot of people act good, do good, are good people. And we think that they're safe. But God look inside people's heart that we cannot see.
Now I got it. Like people who was standing in front of people pray, like, 1 hour, 2 hours to do thing like they're real. Actually, it was not.
You're right.
Okay.
And we meet just people all the time.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Well, we do very well. We cover 2 chapters in 2 hours. We never done that. Well, we still have to keep doing this 2 chapters in 2 hours. We still have 3 more chapters to go for 2 weeks. I think we can do it. Okay, if you don't have any question, we're going to take a break, and next week we come back and try to finish 2 chapters again. Okay, let's go to check. Okay. We're going to start chapter 11 for today. It's about congregational conflict 1. It means that church have problem, and then how we get to deal with this textbook talking about problem at church. And they say that it's not always bad. They say that the church that don't have problem might don't have a chance to grow. Because when people don't have problem, mean that they do nothing. They don't do anything. When people start doing something for God, they will have problem. So it's the sign of active church, healthy church. Healthy church, active church will always have problem to deal with. The church that don't have problem at all mean that it's a dying church because they don't do anything. So this is something good about problem, about conflict. So it just, we need to know how to deal with them. That's all. It's just like we have anything, we have things to deal with all the time. But the old people who don't do anything, waiting to die, they don't have problem. So now they say that when church don't have conflict, when church don't have problem, they say that church lack passion, direction. They refuse to clearly define their belief and value, so they don't need to fight. When the church start thinking about what they believe, what they do, now they start have problem. And sometimes a church just avoids problem, mean that they don't talk about their problem. They don't talk about conflict. And when they have to make deep decision, the church refuse to do it because they know if they make decision, they will have problem. So this is all the sign that the church lack confidence The church don't want to do with anything. The church don't want to make decisions. So they're avoiding problem. So this is not the good way, not a good sign. Now they say that in this book say that when church start working, doing something for God, they need to deal with conflict or problem. And they say that there are 7 levels of problem in church, from a little bit to the serious one. So now we can look at how our church at what level of problem now. And the level 1, they say level 1 intensity is just about normal differences, like a little bit different among members. It's not a serious one. It's just we disagree on a lot of things. That's very normal. And now the second serious problem is getting more people involved, more problem now. And the third intensity means that they start fighting now. And the fourth level means that they start dividing in different parts. And 5 level mean that it cleared out, the church starts splitting. And level 6 mean that they declare enemy for each other now. And level 7 mean that after the divide, they start fighting each other, try to destroy each other now. This is the most serious one. So now you can see that when we have problem, we start with a little bit disagreement until the end, they try to kill each other on level 7. So now we have to get in somewhere in the middle to solve the problem. If we don't do anything, the little problem will end up with try to kill each other. And you don't believe that Christian or church try to kill one another. That happens all the time. When they go up to level 7, mean that you cannot live together in this world anymore. We have to kill one another. One have to die. So these books will tell us that problem will have all the time. It's just how we have to deal with them. The right way, the Christian way, that's all. So a lot of time when we cannot deal the Christian way, the thing will get worse and getting bad all the time. Now, what's the difference between the Christian way and the non-Christian way? The Christian way always have hope and have God in that. It's not about us, it's about God and his church. How we handle differences. Now they say that in level 1, when we want to deal with disagreement, what we can do? We have to go back to the vision that God gave us. We all can look at things differently, but still we have the same goal, same God, same mind. So when we have disagreement, we always have to go back to God, not us. It's not about us, it's about God. Our goal is about God. It's not about us. Now, when we go to the second level, mean that the problem gets more complicated. People get taking side now. What we should do now? Now have to come to the fact what caused the problem. Find out who started the problem and can we talk with them, try to make agreement between the one who started the problem. So the first level is just try to bring everyone to the same goal again. But the second level is personal now. You need to talk to the person who have problem. Can then they work out the differences? Can you help them to deal with their problem? Now, if it let go until the third level, it's about saving face now. it go too far, too deep now. Everyone try to save their faith, don't want to lose faith. So how you help them now? Well, you need to deal with them with more leader and let them see more about the goal of the church and try to help them to sacrifice for God and for the church. So this third level is about they need to sacrifice now because the problem won't solve by itself. Somebody need to apologize now because it's not just about differences. It's about hurt and don't trust anyone now. If nobody can apologize or nobody accept responsibility, the problem will get worse. But if one side apologize, the problem can solve. If one side will say that, oh, I'm sorry, misunderstanding. If one side can say, I'm sorry, the problem can solve. But if nobody can accept responsibility, nobody can say sorry, the problem will get worse now. Mean that there are two groups, two factions in the same church now. Level 4 mean that two enemies fighting each other inside the church now. They try to get more people to get into their side. How you help them? There are only two factions in one church. They're not split out yet, but in the same church, there are two groups now fighting one another inside. How you bring that two groups that fighting in one church to declare peace or to disband the group? Well, it's very difficult now when they come to this stage. Unless God do something, the church will always have two groups now, two fractions. They might come to worship together, but you can see them sit in two separate groups. They might have dinner, but they sit in two separate groups now. Two camp in one church, start fighting. So this is a pretty war going on now, open war. When they get to level 5, they start building camp because they start shooting each other openly in church now, accusing each other openly, fighting openly in church now. And this is before they break out. How you help them? This is very difficult. Now you need professional help or someone that both sides trust or respect to get involved. But this is already war now. How you stop this war and won't let it get it too far. This is already war now. When you get to level 5, it's already war. Now, level 5 is still, you might call that quiet war or secret war, but level 6 means that open war now. Everyone outside can see that two groups fighting inside one church. They're accusing each other. They do everything to destroy another group. Accusing another group that they destroy the church. They cause the problem. How you help them? Well, this is war. How you stop the war is difficult. Unless the third group come in, try to mend that problem. But most of the time, the church, when they come to level 6, it's no hope now, especially in many cultures. One side need to go. When they go to 7, mean that the church split, they divide. Nobody can stay together anymore. So now you see that the 7 situation in every single church, several problems that we have in the past. It follow the pattern of this 7 level of war, of problem. And I believe that we have seen that many times in our life, in our church. And you think that we can stop all this in the future? Well, it might help us more, but to stop all these things, it might be impossible as long as man have different idea, different thinking. But how can we use this to be the benefit of God or kingdom of God? We can separate, but we still have to work together. We can have different idea, but we still have the same goal to serve God. So how we be differences, accept the differences and still work together for God and for his kingdom. So I go quick, but I know that we went through all this all the time. And maybe now we are in some level 2, level 3, level 4, 5 at our situation now. How we going to do something for the situation at our church or our group to help with the way that God wants us to do. I will stop here a little bit to come back for you. So you have any reflection or comment? So far, this textbook recommend us about the differences in church and the situation that we go through. And you think that there is any hope to stop the war?
Yeah, John, I see the level 6, level 5. If it problem, go to the level 5. If there's still no solve, that there's no hope. Lot of, I see that not even Mian church, all kind of church up to level 5, for sure, for spreading.
Yeah.
2 church, 3 church, something like that.
Yeah, so now we agree that if we can stop them at level 1, level 2, is the hope. But if we let it go to level 4, 5, it means that no hope now.
Sure.
So we need to stop it at level 1, 2, or 3. That's still can stoppable. Now, how we deal with level 1 and 2? Because it will happen all the time, level 1 and 2. Because a lot of church ignore level 1 and 2 and start looking at it at level 3 or 4 is already difficult to deal with now. Now, how you agree with some churches say that let it happen, whatever will be.
And that church, same thing like John said, that is not healthy church, right? If there's no conflict, there's no no problem, everything is quiet, and then it's to me, I can see that that's not healthy very much because everything all the same, waiting for die.
Yep.
And if I see that something a little bit conflict or a lot that way, if we can solve the first level, that's a church very improved. So every time we can hear that they can do all kind of new thing or advanced thing.
Yeah, you're right. If you want your church to be active and working, you expect it's always level 1 or 2 all the time. It just don't let it go to level 4 or 5. You need time to help it stay in level 1 or 2 all the time.
Yeah. If a healthy church, yeah, I see that level 1, level 2, that's all. If
Yep.
everything complete, get to normal, and then, yeah, never can be stopped. Everything a little bit more or less, at least we have to.
Mhm. So now you see a main key is leader. All the leader team always need to be one and agree. If all the leadership always become one and agree, the problem will never go beyond level 2 or 3 because the leadership stop them.
Yep.
But when leadership is not agree or not in one, it will go up to 6 or 7 real quick.
I agree with John said that. I see most of the time the leader, if we're not the same page, for sure. If we talk about everything, meeting with same page, but later on when you say another word, another one is say another word, that is not same page. When we agree at the same page, but after that and then you talk another word, another one is talk another word, that is not the same. It's going to be a level 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
So now a good point, how leadership always in the same page or agree all the time. How to make all the leadership agree all the time.
John, is that we have to have always have not too far away from like 1 month, 2 months, we have to have it together, right, for the leadership?
Yeah, all the leaders need to talk together all the time, need to deal with things, agree with things all the time.
John,
Yes.
how can we deal with church that lacking of vision, direction, goal, and communication?
Well, we talk about revival. The leader, especially the leader or the member, need to have the vision from God. God need to inspire us to do something for God. Without vision, we do nothing. We just go routine. It's just the excitement from God that going to revive the church.
Yeah, I feel like that it's really it's hard for a church to going on because everybody just go there for routine and there's no direction, no vision of what to do next. And it is, year after year, we not grow, we don't have any no vision or anything, and that make the church go or start to get bored and feel like they want to seek for a different place so they can learn more or they can do more exciting thing for God.
Yeah, you're right. Because people live with vision, with hope, with goal. The church who lack of those cannot survive.
Yeah, it is hard because someone is the leader, and we a lot of people just wait to see if, because like we mentioned, like we talked last few week about conflict resolution, and it's kind of hard because someone is in that position and don't do the work, and other people just are waiting and see if he step up and do something. Right? And it is pretty tough for a lower position person to say, I think this is what we need to do or something like that. It's kind of hard to to run the church, just to wait for the leader to see what, direction will take.
Yeah, sometimes all leader or people who have been doing for so long need help from younger leader. We need some young people. But in a lot of churches, it's difficult for the old people to let young people to get involved. Because old people don't want to change. Young people always want new thing and change. So in America, they call one generation church. It means that let me die with my belief and then you take over the church. But why the old people still alive, they don't let the young people take over.
Yeah, in this case, not even like old from age, but old from the way they believe, because the past, how they believe, and they not change at all. Like, for example, this day we do have technology and we can do much easier thing, but they still like to stick to the old tradition and don't want to change, and that's also tougher for the younger generation to join the church.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know that in the past, a lot of Asian church have 3, 4, 5 generations in the same church. So how they do it? Well, a big thing is culture. Culture means that all the young will still respect the old, and the old try to keep the young together. But now everything changed. The young might not stick around anymore because they want something exciting, something that they want to take part in it, but the old don't allow them. So in the American churches, I have seen that a lot of Asian churches allow the young generation to have their own congregation. It's like 2 churches or 3 churches in one church. The old still with their own. The young have their own churches. And they say they share the same building, share the same budget, but they have 2 churches together. They have their own staff, everything. So I don't know, this is the model that you want to copy, like the Chinese do it, the Korean do it in America. It's like 2 churches together in one church. I think the men now start doing that. I don't know how far.
Is that a good idea or bad idea, Chan?
Well, just to survive, this is something we adopt, but I don't know the far it's going to be working in the long term or not. But at least to keep the young people together. But for American, they will split out, make a new church.
Should we worry about that or just pray for it and then just go for it?
Well, it depends on your culture. The Chinese and Korean have a very strong culture, meaning that the kids still respect the older generation. They try to be there as long as possible. But like the Thai-Lao have soft culture, the kids won't stay around. They went out and joined American churches already. They won't stay.
To me, Chan, I see that, I don't mean that it's not good, but to me, I see that that's divided to, two group, like, for example, Mien church, like a Mien speaking Mien, and English. That's kind of a little bit complicated for me. To me, it's very, very complicated. It's sometimes when you need the meeting, so the youngster, they don't like to join. So how can we say that one church to Universal Group. So that's pretty difficult for me. I don't know. That's why I have a suggestion. Is that a good idea or bad idea? That's I want to get an idea from a Chan.
Well, we need to live with that. If you want the young people allow, it just they will join you in certain things, not everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, Chan.
They join us with like Christmas,
Like Christmas, Thanksgiving, they do.
Easter, and also the communion each month, and then they join together in one service for the communion and the holiday, just like a Christmas, Thanksgiving.
It's just like your children come to visit you once in a while.
That's why I see that like you know what we open that way like for our grandkid children to visit once a while, 3 times a year, 4 times a year only.
You know that I see a model in Thailand. The old generation give up, left a leadership to the young. Let the young run the church, and the old people just come to join them.
They don't want to take over.
Yeah, like a Mian, you know what, culture. They don't want to take over, so everything, give it to you, old folk to run it. I don't know, so.
In Thailand, I have seen they do this way. They call a young pastor and let the young pastor change everything.
Oh.
Okay. Good idea.
And the young pastor will put the young team to run the church now.
Oh. Okay.
So for us, we have to pray to looking for the young pastor, because now no one go to to learn the how to become a pastor.
But the understanding, you need to know that when you let the young pastor in, you need to give him all the power to change.
Okay. Let's pray and see what God is going to do with that.
Will you, the old generation, give up power?
No, John, there is no way. That's why youngster cannot step in. The old generation never step down, never. That's why. Never.
Well, so the church will die with the old generation.
Exactly. We will see. Yeah, exactly.
It's not easy.
Not
As I
easy,
told you.
John. You're right. That's not easy.
So you know that we try in our church for many years to train young generation to take over. It looked very good for a few years, but to the point that they still give up. The young don't want to wait.
That's why. That's why. Yeah, that is not easy. That's not easy. Thank you.
So now I decide that the old generation keep doing what God calls us to do until it's done. So whatever we can do our best. So don't worry too much about the next generation. They have their own call.
Exactly, John. That's why church 4,000-5,000 years already. Same thing. We should not worry. That's the way.
Yeah, the church will never die.
Yeah.
God will take care.
We just need to do our part the best we can. That's all. So don't worry about the future. God called us to save His church, not to save our culture. Yeah, mere language will come and it will go, but the church will always there. God allowed the main language there as long as we need it. The new generation will need only English now. You see that when I start teaching in our Thai-Lao school, I teach Thai for 10 years. And after that, the new student come in and don't understand. At first I think that I will keep teaching in Thai. And if I do that, I might can last 15 years maximum. So in the 12 years, I start using English. And now it's 37 years now, I still teaching. But all have to be in English now.
Ajahn, like you know the God way, like you know what he chooses the Babylon. Right now, it is he chooses the American. So
Yep.
we will see right now, right?
Yeah.
So who's next?
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
If we want God to use us, we just need to be flexible.
Yeah.
I never dreamed that I was teaching English and have to preach and do everything in English, but that's what God wanted to be.
Amen.
So now you see that the point how to deal with problem. I think flexibility is the answer. And here is another advice from 5 levels of conflict. And the first one is 7. Now this is from business world idea. They say that conflict is 5 levels. In church there are 7. But they say that in business world, conflict is the level of conflict is flexible, mean that it's not stay in one level all the time. It can move up and down all the time. And we just have to understand that the same problem can change all the time. And for us to help, we need to be very flexible and understand the situation very well. And they mentioned that in business world, training is everything. Anyone who's going to get involved or help need training. A lot of time, the people who try to solve the problem don't have knowledge or training enough to help. So it's like you send someone to try to deal with COVID and they don't have any knowledge about COVID. They kill the patient. In business world, how they do? They start with disagreement, different goal, different value, different needs, and they start angry. People get angry all the time now. And people try to look at problem instead of person. So the way to deal with it is share information, speak clearly, and just concentrate on problem, not on people. You see that a lot of time we, instead of look at the problem, we look at people. Instead of try to deal with problem, we try to deal with person. It's not about the person, it's about the disagreement, it's about the problem. So this is one thing that teaches, don't blame person, but blame the disagreement itself. So the one who can do this job is the one who have training, knowledge, good listening skill. So don't send someone who have anger problem or the one who keep talking without listening. They cannot help. The one who can help is the one who have really a lot of patience and understanding. The one who love to talk, love to express, cannot do this job, cannot help anyone. Now, level 2 of disagreement, the problem is get more mixed with personality. And you cannot define, the problem come from disagreement or from personality now. Two things mix up. And this is more serious. Nobody trusts anyone in business world. And people don't talk to each other now. People don't open up now. And they try to save their face now. This is the business world. They don't want to agree now. Now, how to deal with this kind of problem? The problem is more complicated. The one who can help is more skillful, more professional, and know the skill of mediation means that they have to go to both sides one at a time to talk with this side what they need, what problem, and go back to another side and try to help another side to see the problem. So this is someone that go in between two sides, try to help them. Level 3 is open war now. Both sides try to win. They declare another side the enemy now. They start personal attack now, not just problem. They start forming their group. Division is very clear now. And how to deal with this kind of problem is more complicated now. And a lot of time you need to decide what you can save and what you cannot save. You might not save everyone or everything now, but you might save something. In order for both sides to work together now, they might have to make agreement. Each side need to lose something, get something. It's like a war and try to make peace out of the war now. Level 4. Level 4, they say that it's not about trying to win anymore, but it's trying to kill another side now. Not try to winning the war now, but try to get rid of another one now for any cost. So this is not just try to win to save faith, but when you come to this level, it means that you try to get rid of another side at all costs. Try to kill another side now. Eliminate that side forever. How you help them? Well, the one who want to help them need to have a lot of skill, a lot of patience, and everyone respect. Now you almost cannot find anyone to help them now. This is open war. They're fighting to death now. When you go up to level 5 in business world, it means that one side have to die now. It's no coming back now. Now, how you help this when they come to this point? Well, you try to save whatever you can save now. Do whatever you can do, but this is the war that the church or the group have to split for sure. But even they split, how you save what they can have. Can we still friend? Can we still work together even with split? When you come to level 5, you cannot stop them from splitting or dividing now. But try to save what you can save. After you split, still can we work together? Can we still friend? This is level 5, what you can get out of it. You always have to deal with price. Both sides have a lot of price. And a lot of emotional, spiritual immaturity. That's why they fight. Change and inflexibility. You see that change always come, but when they're not flexible, they cannot work together. Abuse of power is another problem. Some leader don't share power and don't listen to anyone and try to in control of everything all the time. Politics, even in church. So we need to be careful because of a lot of time we use the wrong way. Church should not get in politics, but church always get in. And now unclear authority means that they don't know who make decision, who in control, who make final say. A lot of time we don't know. And people just try to get over this by take over the power themselves. And this is another big difference, problem. We all different. We need to accept differences and how we learn how to work together in differences. And that's difficult. We always want to work with someone similar to us or think the same way as us. And we don't like differences. But church is the place of all kinds of people. We need to learn how to work with differences and always know that it's not for us, it's for God. And when people forget, people say, this is my church. In fact, it's not your church, it's the church of God. And we're just serving God together, that's all. Now, this is mainly come from business idea, but it's similar to what happened in church today. In Christian community, we have the same problem. Politics, differences, abuse of power, inflexibility, emotional maturity, immaturity. This is all the problem, pride. I don't know which one is the worst in your situation or you have to deal with. Pride, immaturity, inflexibility, abuse of power, politics, unclear authority. Personality differences have to deal with. Which one is your worst situation? Or everything?
อาจารย์ I met a person who worked for the Asian the language church for many years, and he said something that a lot of time he see within the Asian church we have some conflict between the last name because we have like cousin, relative, or the same last name, pastor, and he put all the person that has the same last name to in charge of all the position, and sometimes other people, other last name think, oh yeah, he play politics, you know, and he mentioned that, so I kind of think, yeah, I think we should be careful within the Asian church because all the last name may play something like that too. I you know, that's what I only just mentioned.
It can be true and not true because a lot of time the last name is so big, mean that you can have half of the church have the same last name, but not really relate much. Like for the Chinese just have 10 big last name. And you know that each big last name have hundreds of millions of people. And they don't know each other at all. But still, by reality, they relate by blood. The Chinese don't change last name, even you get married, unless you relate by blood. So you have the same last name. I don't know, in your culture, it's the same thing. Women, when they get married to the family, they don't change the last name because women don't relate by blood to the family. Women keep her last name. But all the children that born in the family keep the father last name.
Yeah, I think we are just like that too. Yeah.
Is that Hmong people same thing, Sai?
Same thing like what?
Same thing like Chan said, the Chinese
Yeah, when
lady, they still using the last name, but the children who was born and then keep the father's last name.
yeah, the wife keep that keep the original last name. So if the wife change the last name to the husband's last name, then people might think, oh, he married his own sister or cousin or thing like that. So usually they do that, but this day people change. So my wife changed her last name to mine, and yeah.
Same thing, like when we come to the United States and then when we do the citizen and then just like that, but actually Mien culture, no, we don't change the last name. A lady still keep her last name. Only son or daughter born keep father's last name.
Good to see you, son. You back from work?
Yeah, I just get back from work right now. I woke up since 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
They're driving crazy.
Mhm. What
Yeah,
kind of-
hopefully, I try to give them the skill for the today off, but they don't let me.
What kind of job you doing now?
I just work for they call the box they call PCA that mean packaging American corporation. Yeah, Monday through Friday, the 10-hour shift, and then most of the time Saturday 8 hours. But I try to find a skill for that. I don't know. It's a very hard work. Good to see everybody here.
Okay.
Ajahn, I have one question for that. My pastor, they want me to help him for Sunday Bible. If I help him that, and then once a month for the pinching for helping, then should I get an extra credit from there?
Yeah, write me your outline, your sermon outline, turn in.
Okay. Can I have to leave? Just learning. Bye bye, Ajahn.
Oh, you have to go now? Okay, Bun.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye, Bob.
Bye bye.
Next week.
So did me hang
See you next week. Yeah.
Ajahn, then how about a person who was used to be a politics person and then he's running the church? So is that a good idea? Because I all the time talk about the government's politics all the time. If it's some person they're running the church, they always not forget about the politics about the government, and then he uses maybe half of his experience to the church. So is that good idea or bad idea?
Well, in fact, we should separate them because it's more dangerous to use politics in church. We run the church in different way because God have the way for us to run the church in His way, not the political way. Politics is just about power. It's about negotiation, how to survive, to win. But for a church, it's about God, it's about love, it's about sacrifice, it's about helping.
Never talk about win. Yeah.
Yep. It's different way completely.
Yeah, John, it's not talking about my church, okay? I know the Mien church. Sometimes we know that, the Mien people, some people, they running about the politics a lot, okay? Sometimes they cannot use another way to talk to the member or whatever. They said by the law, use American law, this and that. So I hear a lot of church say that too, like an election, like a 4-year term, this and that. So to me, sometimes I don't really want to hear about that politics.
Well, next time you can answer that person that a church is not run by democratic. The church run by theocratic. Democratic mean that the people rule.
Not,
Yeah.
not the person rule.
Yeah, the people rule the country, but theocratic means God rule the church.
Yep.
So when the church run by theocratic, means that God is the king. Whatever God say, we do it, not the people.
Yep.
So you can tell them a church is not democratic. So we don't need to argue. We come from different way of running, of ruling. Tell them we don't argue with them about America. Yes, America democratic, but the church is theocratic.
Okay.
God rule the church. God run the church. God in control of the church. We listen to God. God ways. And even all the people vote one thing, but it's against the will of God, God will win. We listen to God. So it's not what people want, it's what God wants.
Yep. Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Yeah, it needs some time to let people know, because most people think that church is democratic. We need to listen to the people. So new believer need to learn about what is the church, how to run the church, the way of God, not the way of politics. This is why a lot of church have problem. They select leader out of business, out of politics, and out of many things that they think they know everything, but it's against the will of God. It's against the law of God. It's not, what they do is not correct. They need to relearn the way of God.
Very difficult, John, like people who was politics of people, and then, when they relearn it, that's very difficult, unless God will change it, that's all.
Yeah, all your church need to be very clear that people who are going to be leader of church need to know the way of God, not just their own experience. You know that the reality happened many years ago when American church sponsored the launching to America, and they appoint all the Lao leader to be pastor. And some of them are used to be monks, teacher, soldier. And when they lead the Lao church, they did not read the right way, because they think they know how to run the church, but it's not the Christian way.
Yes.
Okay, John, for example, like, you know what, some people, they, like a pastor or leader, they always talk about the price, and then always, you know what, bring themselves up. Say, oh, before I'm leading this and that, I bring this and that to, and then is that a good way or no?
It's in a good way.
Well, they can share their own experience, but still, it's not much about the words of God or anything. You can share some of your
Members,
experience.
Ajahn, I hear a lot of members sometimes people talking about they bring them up and then people say, oh, I hear that many times already. I don't want to hear. And then I hear a lot of members sometimes when we go seminar or this and that, we hear some people talk themselves, you know, to bring them up so high. And then I hear that a lot of members say that too. So I said, probably that is not that good idea.
But we don't know, so that's why
we want to
want
ask.
to make sure that it's a good idea or not.
Thank you, Ajahn. So I learned a lot today. Thanks.
Well, in church, we come to honor God, and everything we talk about God is not to talk about ourselves. This is why all the church leaders have to go back to school. And we have to keep learning new things from God all the time. Oh, by the way, I checked. Some of you are going to have enough credit to graduate next semester. I think care and farm, you have enough credit for next semester. You take 2 more courses, you can finish the new diploma.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think, where is Nathan? I think Nathan too. But not his wife. His wife doesn't have enough. But I think Nathan next semester will have enough.
Oh, because he had the
From the Ajahn.
How far for me? How far for me and my son?
Both of you still, this is your second semester though?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe you see they have a certificate. I will check that. You might qualify to have enough for certificate, the first step. So we see.
Yeah, anything else I can do, I will more than happy. But I try to add more song, I try to add more preaching, and then try to help you more Sunday school.
Okay. But don't worry about too much about to graduate. If you want to continue, you still can continue with us, learn new things. So after you finish the third step, you can have 2 options, to continue with us or to continue with the main campus.
Ajahn, we cannot dream go for campus. We continue here.
with Ajahn.
With Ajahn, if by our grade we can go for another better step. I think so. When I retired, I have nothing. So just only church stuff, and then I still can go for.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So today you have any more question or anything else?
Ajahn, I just need to pray for my schedule, the really struggle for me.
Okay.
I cannot miss this class, and then I cannot miss the job the same time at the same time, drive me crazy.
But for the class, we record everything. You can go and review the record. So you still can make up by watching all the old record of the class.
Okay.
Chien will send the link to you every week, so you can go there. But don't miss your job. You still need the job.
Yeah, if you allow me to do that, that's a lot more easy for me because I very struggle. If I don't have no job, and then I cannot focus my family or everything. And then, if I quit my class, so hard to get back again. I'm getting old every minute.
Yeah, you don't need to quit. You can have both. So keep your job and watch the videotape instead. So don't need to worry. You can have both.
Okay.
Okay, Mwang Jie. So you need the schedule change, right?
They don't change for me because I already
No, I asking you need the schedule change, right? Okay, so I'm going to put on my list for the prayer. So we have sometime Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I put every group. I will tell them to pray for you to have your schedule change.
I really appreciate that.
Do that for you. Okay.
I really appreciate that for.
Yeah, I will do that. I will put in the list.
Yeah, that means so because before I start at 2:30 until 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't have no time to join the group at all. So right now I just get back to change that morning shift. So now I start at 4 in the morning to
that's
2:30.
so hard.
Yeah. Sometimes I got back home, I really hate it. I lost about 20 pounds already.
Wow.
Yeah, before I worked at this job, I still, since December, I had 168. Right now, 144.
Wow.
Think about how struggle I am. Yeah.
Okay. We're praying for you. And remember Buntawai, she's still in emergency room. Need your prayer too. Okay, let's pray. Loving God, we thank you that we all can come to study your words today. We thank you that you help us to learn something for your kingdom and to help other people. Help us to be humble and to know that we are nothing without you. I lift up all students before you, especially for Bunta and his wife that she in emergency room right now need your help to heal her and to get her well again, and help Bunta in everything that he needs to support his wife, and pray for son for his new schedule that he will have enough time to rest and to come to school, and give him a good health. And we lift up the rest of students before you. Help each one of them for their need and support them and help them that they can serve you better by trusting you. Give them all the strength, all the support they need. Be with each one of us until we come back again next week. We thank you for everything. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.